How are you, man?
I've been doing great. It's been a little while.
Oh, you got it. And boy, is fall here or what? Like, I just walked outside today. It was like 40 degrees outside. Incredible.
I know I have a deal with my son. He's going to in-person school, and I'm like, you can do this, but you have to ride your bike every single day. And he's kind of pushing back, and I'm like, okay, well, as long as it's above 50 degrees, you have to ride your bike. We did a handshake agreement on that.
Yeah.
So yesterday, sure enough, it's 48 degrees. Dad, it's not 50 degrees, and so I'm like, well. I'll hold to my agreement because I said only if it's above 50 do you have to ride your bike. But I would really be impressed if you would man up, put on some gloves, and ride your bike to school. It's about 3 miles, so it's a little ways.
Yeah.
And so what do you think happened?
How was driving him? Was it good?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he made me stick to my commitment. So, but when you and I were growing up, I felt like it's definitely was that walk uphill both ways to school. And you were in Minnesota, so I know it was a little bit cold up there.
Oh, my dad was ruthless. He would not allow people to drive me home in the middle of winter. He wanted me to run home from wrestling practice so I would be stronger from that standpoint. So
stronger, better, and faster. You're like the Terminator.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's not so good when you're in street clothes in that cold weather, carrying all your books, very dark, because it gets dark at like 4:30 in the winter. So.
Minnesota people are crazy. Like, I'm in Chicago, and I swear when I go up there, it's like 20 degrees, and they're walking to Starbucks in shorts and a t-shirt. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, they just live life. So, well, welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. Nat Truitt, myself, we're here every week. Really, with this idea is we've been in business for a very long time. We like to share wonderful ideas and stuff like that. So, welcome to the podcast. Nat, I was at my buddy's cabin, speaking of Minnesota. My buddy has a cabin there. We were just there last weekend. And the funniest thing, so we're sitting in, and it was in the evening. So he had put on UFC fighting, right?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I would make it about 2 minutes in there, right? Because they got the cage, and this is like martial arts, wrestling, boxing. It's all in one. I was just amazed how crazy a sport that is. Have you watched that before?
I have watched it, and it is brutal, but I love it because it's kind of like brass tacks, right? There's no place to hide, and you just you're beating each other up. And have you seen who's that Navy SEAL guy that does? I think he was actually a martial arts guy that did that one video, the good video.
The good video. I don't remember that one. So
the Jocko.
Jocko. Okay. I think I've seen that one time, right? He's like a stud from that standpoint.
Yeah.
Maybe we try to find that. Because that is a really impressive that video, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I like it because it's a lot about personal responsibility. Let me see if I can find that.
One of my direct subordinates, one of my guys that worked for me, he would call me up or pull me aside with some major problem, some issue that was going on, and he'd say, "Boss, we got this and that and the other thing," and I'd look at him and I'd say, "Good." And finally, one day he was telling me about some issue that he was having, some problem, and he said, "I already know what you're going to say." And I said, "Well, what am I going to say?" He said, "You're going to say good." He said, "That's what you always say. When something is wrong and going bad, you always just look at me and say good." And I said, "Well, yeah, when things are going bad, there's going to be some good that's going to come from it. Didn't get the new high-speed gear we wanted? Good. Didn't get promoted? Good. More time to get better. Oh, mission got canceled? Good. We can focus on another one. Didn't get funded. Didn't get the job you wanted. Got injured. Sprained my ankle. Got tapped out? Good. Got beat? Good. You learned. Unexpected problems? Good. We have the opportunity to figure out a solution." That's it. When things are going bad, don't get all bummed out, don't get startled, don't get frustrated. If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Oh man, I love that video. It pumps me up every time.
Oh cow, is that impressive or what?
I got my boys hooked on that too. I think my 16-year-old has it memorized. So he always uses it, to, of course, to bust the chops of his younger brother. Like, oh, it's 48 degrees. Get on your bike. Good.
That's good. Well, his message is powerful.
Yeah. We need more of that, especially like, as business owners, and, we got to strengthen our muscles, and, sometimes you get knocked down, COVID's got you locked down. Good. Get back up. Make some phone calls, close some deals. I love that guy.
Well, I mean, business is like personal accountability, right? It's your business and you've got to figure it out. So to the point is, hey, if you're struggling, good, figure it out. Go find another way to market, find another way to find good people, but go do what you got to do.
Exactly.
So, but really, is we try to instill this in our kids, but for all of us, right? It's very easy to get caught up into, well, it's somebody else's problem because I didn't get promoted, or, hey, listen, the marketing isn't working from that standpoint. So we're in a culture where I think a lot of people, it gets very easy to blame somebody else when something's going wrong.
Yeah. I always remember this one story that was pretty impactful for me. I was working with a candidate that I can't remember if he bought a Subway or he owned it. I think he was like he had bought it, and it was like a struggling Subway because it was in a bad location. And you'd think like, oh, why would you buy it? But, he was telling me this story, like he himself, the owner, he went out, and this was like years and years ago before, like, there was all the catering and delivery. But so with Subway, he actually went out and did a lot of business to business sales and started getting all these lunches and, orders for catering and all that. And it ended up being one of the best Subway locations, but it was because it was kind of almost like a back office location that was fulfilling all this B2B stuff. And like, I was always pretty impressed with that, because instead of just waiting for customers to come to him, to that store, he went out and got customers and probably had better margin on them anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my dad growing up, and again, my dad was tough from a standpoint. It just, but I wrestled when I was younger, and I remember I had this match, and I got beat, and I came off, and I was kind of complaining to my dad. My dad just said, "Hey, listen, it's all on you. It was you out there. That was you, and so you can't blame anything other than you need to train harder. You need to get better at your moves. You got to work harder than anybody else." If that didn't work in that match, and those things carry a long way with me. And so I've tried to apply that to business too. It's just always having this mindset of, how do you figure it out? What do you got to do? So, okay, there's a roadblock.
Exactly. Figure out how to get around it. I always say you never want to mess with wrestlers. I swear, whenever you're working with somebody that was super tenacious and then you find out that they were a wrestler, you're like, yeah, that explains it. You guys are crazy.
Well, I'm not claiming that I was a good wrestler, right? So,
yeah, but it's that work ethic of going out there. Oh, you need to cut 2 pounds. Good, get in the steam room or the sauna and start sweating it off.
Yeah, those coaches were brutal, right? So
the good old days, right? I don't know if they do that anymore, but
yeah, no, I think they would probably be they'd probably get called out for abuse from that standpoint. Probably a little dangerous in many ways. So that's good. But as we go forward, even as a country, it's accountability for what we do. So I think we've got a long way to continue to have that Jocko mindset, is that, hey, if something goes wrong, we just got to figure it out. Good, let's go. We need a lot more of that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. We have plenty of people are getting kind of weak and lazy, just expecting, whether it's the government or companies to kind of provide for them or give them a roadmap and everything. But, really, like, I think the COVID actually has been a good pressure test. I know I got stocked up on some extra food and some, got a little bit more like a homesteader.
Well, yeah, but so think about some of these franchises, and I'll pick like budget blinds, right? So
Mhm.
budget blinds, we go into this COVID-19, and before they would come to your business or your home, and they would do an estimate, right?
Right.
And so COVID-19 comes along, and their sales representative can't come out, right, to give you an estimate, or their design professional, whatever we want to call it. And so what do? They say, good, we got to figure this thing out. So they did now virtual estimates. So they do Zoom, because everything is done with Zoom nowadays, right? So whether it's family holidays or estimates, right? So they set up their franchisees so they can do Zoom estimates. Okay, show me the window. Okay, can you measure it for me? Great. Show me the surroundings. What are you looking for? And they do it virtually. And that's happening in all types of different industries. But those are examples of, hey, listen, we got a roadblock. We can't walk into your house. Okay, how do we make this happen?
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, a lot of times I think, some of these companies are going to pick up some margin and be more profitable, even because it's like a more efficient way of doing things, that if they hadn't been pushed, or there hadn't been a catalyst, we get comfortable in our ruts and keep on doing things the way we're used to doing them, right? Years after years after years. So,
yeah, and I think it's going to change the restaurant industry, right? I think you're
Yeah.
going to see a trend going towards that. There are restaurants where they don't have any seating, right? It is basically just takeout. They're big kitchens, and even kitchens that can cook multiple different types of foods. With this idea, it's just basically a center where you can get takeout.
the cloud kitchen type concept.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just, as COVID's really kind of changed this
Yeah.
from a standpoint.
Yeah,
Or even
well,
our city, right? So
Yeah.
they had to do outdoor seating. And so they shut down the streets so that they could put outdoor seating. And somebody asked me the other day, do you think they'll do that next year, even though we don't have this? Because it seemed like it was a great idea to allow the businesses to do that.
Yeah. That, all those old sayings, it's interesting because at some point in your life, you realize, wow, there's, a reason for that saying, or it makes a lot of sense, and kind of that turning lemons into lemonade type thing. That's what we've been able to do a lot with COVID, and even just having the kids home a little bit more. It's like, good, time to, re-engage, play some more board games, have some more family meals together. Good.
Yeah, no, and I think that's right. We as a family did the same thing, right? I looked at it as, yeah, we're locked down for 90 days. We just kind of, as a family, hunkered down, and it was probably one of the best 90 days we ever had, right?
Yeah.
This idea that we could spend time together, and we actually connected to meals, and the kids weren't running out the door, and we had themed dinners, and we played Sorry every night. Well, by the way, I suck at the game of Sorry, so just we're clear.
How can a person suck at Sorry?
I don't know, but I suck at Sorry, right? So, it's all just basically random, but somehow I seem to lose all the time. So,
Yeah, maybe you're just being nice so the kids will play with you again.
no, I wouldn't do that. So be it. Well, Nat, I think as Jocko put it the best way, right? This is all about personal accountability, whether it's your personal life or business, and we just have to do that. There's some great articles. I was spending some time looking at that the other day about personal accountability. So there's some great articles and resources that, if it's something that you're interested in, it's about improving or getting better at personal accountability. There are resources out there, because I think it's a big part of being successful, to work through issues, whether it's personally or professionally.
Yeah, totally. Let's try to find some of those links, and we can try to put them on our website, where the podcast and everything, so people can link to them.
Yeah, I think there's a great Forbes article that I read. So,
okay. Well, have a great rest of the week.
All right, Nat. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to the Hire Yourself podcast. For more resources, check out our website at hireyourself.com. And remember to subscribe to this podcast to receive each episode. Please leave us a rating, and we'd love to hear your feedback or suggestions for topics.